Hey everybody, this is Paul Crammy. Today is actually it's the 8th time that we've done this particular webinar series. It's new employee orientation, and it's a two-part session. You can see the outline on the on the screen. Today we're going to focus on logging in and out of control. Look at the home screen and how that can be changed. We'll explore how you search and find companies and estimates and orders. Talk a little bit about some of the user options, which are unique things that you can set for yourself that don't apply to any other person that might have access to control. And then we'll do a quick review of the Activity Manager, calendar-like service, and then finish up today looking at some of the other resources, that are available for, for you to take advantage of. Then on Thursday, we'll switch gears and kind of be a little bit more specific and actually doing some things in control. We'll add companies and contacts. We'll actually create an estimate, look at some of the options that are involved with estimate creation. Then we'll convert one of those to an order, what that process entails. Spend quite a bit of time actually talking about statuses for estimates and statuses for, for orders. Then we'll do a rather quick overview of processing of payments, talk about the quick products and how that can be set up for yourself and your shop there. And then we'll conclude with a discussion of some print options. Now, I'm going to change what we're looking at here just a second. I want to change so that we're looking at control. Everybody should be seeing control at this stage. So to get started, everybody that is going to have access to control and use control will be assigned or has to have a username, and they have to have a password. And typically for new employees, the owner or the manager will set that up for you, and in all likelihood will give you your initial password that you would use to log in. Now the passwords have to be at least 8 characters in length. They have to have at least 1 capital letter, and they have to have at least 1 numeric letter. Now during the course of day-to-day use of control, I think it's about every 30 to 45 days, you will probably be prompted that you will need to change your password. That's intentional, and you cannot reuse the same one. The system kind of keeps track of patterns, so you can't just continue to use the same one on an ongoing basis. Now, control has a couple of features. One's called auto lock out, and the other one is auto log off. Now, both of those features are optional, and you set them up in the setup area up here. Setup, system setup. Whoops, I did the wrong one. I didn't want that one. I wanted user options. Got to get my bearings right here just a second. Yeah, I'm going to edit this so you can see it a little bit better. Excuse me. This is the auto log lock out here, and then logging out. And what that means is that if you have this activated with a time here, maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So if I put a check mark there, it's going to default to 10 minutes. If I put a check mark on that, it also defaults to 10 minutes. What that means is that on the lockout, if the screen is absolutely idle for that period of time, 10 minutes, then the screen will be locked, and you will have to log back in or enter your password to get back in. Similarly, but a little bit different, is the log off. If your system is idle for that period of time, 10 minutes or so, then it will actually log you off, log you completely out of control, and you would need to to log back in. Now, as I said, both of these features are optional, and they're set up in the user options, which is where we're looking now. And there are certain conditions where you can't log off, or it won't work if things are active, like you're in the payment screen or something like that is open. I'm going to close both of these. So you can log out by choosing the log out up here in the taskbar up far left, or you can actually go to the file menu and log out up there. So if I log out, let me just close this other screen. I'm going to log out, and it's going to ask me to confirm that that's what I want to do. It's going to bring you back to the initial login that you've used. Now, my login, because of the way I'm using the system for training purposes, you won't see this top part up here. So I'm going to simply log back in. But if you were doing this, you would need to enter your login, and you would need to enter your password to get back in. So you can let the system log you out if you use that log off or lock out feature, or you can just log out on your own. Whenever you're going to be away from the system. To close control, you got the big X up here in the taskbar right in the middle, and you can click on it, and then it will take you completely out of control. And you can likewise do it off of the file menu in the top left of the taskbar. The key points on this particular area here where we're talking is deals with the password and the username. Again, just to repeat, everybody will have a username. Everybody has to have a password. The password has to have one capital, one numeric, and then you're going to be prompted to change that password on a periodic basis. I'm going to pause real quick to see if there's any questions. If not, then I'll continue on. All right. I'm going to open up this over here so I can see if there are questions that are coming in. Linda may have had to leave. So now what we're looking at is the home screen. The home screen, this is the default what's called the dashboard. It's a default that generally is what it's set at when the system ships. But you can change that dashboard. You can change this the home screen. Now, there are other dashboards that I'm going to just quickly point to. This is the one that we're looking at. This is one that I created for a different session a few weeks ago. And these are some of the others that exist in the system. The intent of these dashboards is that if you're involved in the accounting process, and that's the only role that you play, then one of these three dashboards might be a preferable one for you to use. If you're involved with artwork control, if you're in the management side, or you're basically involved in marketing, then one of these other dashboards might be of interest. Let's just look at one of these and just see what the difference is. So this gives you a different look. Now, each of these items that have the blue headings, These are called instruments. So this is a calendar instrument. This is an instrument dealing with financial items, some shortcuts, time clock, access to the time clock for logging people in or out of the system, and the activity manager. This is the calendar look. Now, you can edit these. These instruments can be removed. You can edit them. You can add others to them, to a particular dashboard. So my point is that you can customize the dashboards, as time goes by. I do see a question. Let me just open it real quick. Yes, you have to change the password, either. You cannot re-enter and reuse the same one. Is that what you're asking? Just type, okay, good. No, you have to, it has to be unique every time you enter a password. So let's talk here a little bit about the home screen and what you're seeing. I kind of digressed and did the dashboard discussion first, but that's okay. Up here in the top, these first two rows where you see file, action, tools, etc., and then these other icons or symbols in the second row, these two are referred to as the taskbar. And if you notice that when we looked at the dashboards, before the little downward arrow gives you other choices. If we look at that for new, it's going to give you other choices. This is how you would choose one of these if you're going to enter a new company, or you're going to enter an order or an estimate. Explore what it is that you're looking for, or the choices that are shown here. So not all of them have the pull down. Payments doesn't. The quick reports. This is a function that's used at the end of the business day when you're getting ready to close. Marketing related stuff in history. History is relatively new. Not all of you may have it. It's unique to the latest version of the software, which is what I'm using, 6.10. And the history is kind of cool because you can pin items so that they always appear at the top. Then these are other areas that I have been over the last several weeks where I've been doing things inside of control. So the purpose of the history is to allow you to get back to something that you were doing fairly recently. It's just if you're doing something, you leave and you want to get back to it. Maybe you're working on an order and you closed it and you want to get back to it. Then you could use the history to select that order and have it completely reopened, where you wouldn't have to search for what you're doing. Now, if I look at the arrow here, clear up at the top, if there are some of these items that aren't relevant to how you're using the system on a day-to-day basis, you can, by simply removing a check mark, you can remove what you're not going to be interested in doing. So if I'm not interested in keeping the help screen there, it just disappeared. Okay? If I'm not going to be involved in setup stuff, you can make it disappear. Now you can bring them back by just simply putting the check mark back on. So you can kind of tailor this top row to your preferences, okay? Same thing here on the second row. Any that you're not interested in can be removed. You can see that I had turned off the activity manager from appearing in that second row. There, it just reappeared. Okay. So it's a nice way to be able to kind of slim things down as far as what what is going to be there on a day-to-day basis for yourself. If you have reason to initiate something that's not quite right, you need some help from technical support, then you can choose the support button up here in the taskbar's second row, and now you can enter a new service ticket, fill in the fields that are required, and then submit that. And it goes directly to the tech support systems in Baton Rouge, and then you can also use that then to follow up and periodically refresh it or review what the outcome or what the status is. This is an excellent vehicle. It's a good tool for you as a user to expedite getting a service ticket submitted rather than trying to phone or send an email. And it's an excellent vehicle for the for the technical staff in Sirius because it helps them. They don't have to search periodically for emails and things of that nature. So it's a good feature to have access to. Over here on the far right, let me open something so you can kind of see a little bit better what I'm talking about. Over here on the right, this whole kind of gray background area here, that's referred to as the action toolbar. Now, you'll see that some of the buttons are grayed out, like the edit and the save and the cancel are grayed out, and some are not, okay? And the list that you see here will differ depending on what it is that you're doing in the system. So if you're working on estimates, it will look similar to that of orders, but there may be some things that are slightly different. Let's just change this view here to estimates so you can see what I'm talking about. So now we're good at estimates, and now it's almost identical, okay, to that of orders. So what appears in the action toolbar will depend on what it is that you're doing. This is normally where you would go to save something. It's where you would go to, if you're going to duplicate an order or duplicate an estimate or convert an estimate, you would likely go to the, one of the choices would be to go to the action toolbar to actually do that. So if you're going to do some work on this particular estimate, you would have to open it, and then you can edit it and make changes to it, and then when you're done, you can save it, okay? Now, I can't do that. I chose a bad one. This one, it says that this estimate was converted to an order previously, and once it reaches this converted status, in this case, you can't go back and edit it and make changes to it. So I didn't choose a real good example to show you the here you can, if you want to make changes, this is where you can go to start those changes. We'll cover this more detail on Thursday. Close these two down. Let me just quick look at my notes. I don't think there's anything. The key kind of takeaways for this particular section are the changes that you can make to the taskbar here at the top, either taking a check mark off or adding one to it. Those are the two key things there. And then the dashboard, of course, is where you would go to change the dashboard. So we didn't do that. Let me go up to user options and choose user options. Then I'm going to come down to dashboards at the next to bottom on the left-hand side. And if I edit that, this is where you go to change to one of the other dashboards that are in the system. Now, I'm not going to try to get into creating a dashboard or editing and modifying a dashboard. That's a different subject for different time. But they can you can create a dashboard from scratch. You can take an existing one and modify it. So there's a lot of choices. I'm canceling this, closing it. I see another question. Can you clone it and then change it? You're talking on the, when I had the estimate up and it said that it was converted.
Hi, Paul, it's Linda.
Hi.
Eva, I have unmuted you, so you can ask your question.
I think her question is, can you clone a converted estimate? And
she doesn't have a microphone. Yes.
Okay.
Can you clone it and then change it?
The answer is yes. That's exactly what you would have to do. So if we, I didn't want that one, I wanted a different one. Okay. So yes, what you would do on this one is highlight it. Then you can come over to the right-hand side and clone it. And then when you make the changes that you want and save it, it's going to be saved as a new estimate. So it'll be similar to the one that you converted or cloned it from, but it will be a brand new estimate. Does that help, Eva? Okay, switching gears. We've talked a little bit about it already, but this is a good, we're going to talk now to how do you find things in control. And as you've already realized from what I've been doing, you're going to use the Explorer function up here in the taskbar. You can, if you want, use the Explorer on the navigation screen of this particular dashboard. In all likelihood, you're going to use the Explorer up on the taskbar. So you're first going to decide what is it that I want to search for. And there's a lot of different stuff that you can search. You can search for orders, for estimates, specific line items in an order, recurring orders, companies, specific contacts, and on and on and on. So what you would do would be, if you're searching for orders, you would simply say, that's what I want to do. And this is the screen then that comes up. And for you to do that. And I'm going to come back to this. I'm just going to look at a couple of other things first before we actually jump in to do this. So you're going to start by choosing what it is that you want: companies, orders, estimates, etc. Most commonly, you're going to probably use exploring for companies. I would guess that your next is going to be exploring for orders, exploring for estimates, maybe exploring for contacts, and if you're doing a lot of purchase orders and stuff in there, you would explore for purchase orders, perhaps even for vendors. But the companies and the orders and the estimates are probably going to dominate what you're going to be searching for. Now, as you can see, there happens to be about 15 of these things in here that you can search for. So if we click on company, now it's going to say that it is viewing company over here on the left, the top left. Now, if I want to, from this screen, I can change and search for estimates. I can change and search for orders if I want. But this is when you're entering and doing a search, you first decide what it is that you're looking for, such as company. Then you're going to see a series of search criteria. These are search criteria related to a company. You're also going to see filters down here at the bottom in this blue background. And the filters are going to differ based on what it is that you're looking for. So for a company, you have these 3 check marks that you can choose from, and the type of client that it is. They're a client or a prospect, or they're a vendor, personal, etc. Now, so if you select, I want to see companies that have estimates and orders, and that is the way you're always going to use Explorer when you're searching for companies. Then you can use the Save button down here in the bottom and save that. Now, every time you come back to do a search for companies, it's going to remember that you're searching for these, okay? So if you're doing I'm going to take these 2 off, just so now it's showing based on clients. Clients mean that they have an order or an estimate. A prospect, on the other hand, is someone that you would add to the database but doesn't yet have estimates or orders, okay? So you can see when I turned on the check mark for prospect, then other companies showed up. So if you're searching now for a company, you can come up to the company name and just simply start typing. So I'm going to type the letter C. Notice that everything else disappeared. Okay? Get rid of that. And you can see I got a series of them that begin with a T. So now it's just looking at those. Now the key is that you can continue to type as you begin to enter the other characters. So far through the test company, these are the 4 that begin the same way. Now, as soon as I put the letter A in here for area, now it filters out. So as you continue to type the name of the company or the last name of the person or an email, any of these fields, as you continue to enter the characters that you're looking for, then the system is going to slowly begin to narrow down the choices that are there. Now I'm going to change this to company. Many of the comments that I've made are the same. You can search by a number. Notice that it remembered what I had in there before, so I'm going to delete that. And now I'm looking at all of the orders, and you can use the search criteria in much the same way. The things that you can search on will be slightly different from a company or an estimate, but the concept is the same. The filters, these 5 items here that either do or don't have a check mark, those are the different statuses of an order. So what I've said is that on a normal order level search, I want to see all of them that are in WIP. I want to see all of them that are in a built status. I want to see all of them that are in a sale status. and that's reflected. All of these are in WIP. There's a sale and there's a build. If I was not interested in the sale, just remove the check mark and it disappears. If I'm only interested in what's in built, now it brings back just those two. And again, if depending on what you want as your normal or your default search for orders, then you can always save that and it becomes your default. I just selected the save and then change that back to what I had. Okay? Similarly with estimates. I'm not going to repeat, but you got the similar kind of search criteria up here at the top, and you got a different type of filters below. Many of them are based on the estimate statuses and a time range. Now, I didn't comment on the time range, but that was also a filter, for orders. Okay. Now, I'm going to open up.
We do have a couple of questions to Paul. How are you? All right.
Let me finish my train of thought on this, and
sure.
then I'll come back. Okay.
Sounds great. Thank you.
I am going to see if I can pick. I'm looking at something on the screen and I'm not going to tell you what I'm looking for. Okay. Let's pick this one right here. Look carefully up here in the top left-hand area. This says that we're looking at order number 1011. But what I wanted to draw your attention to was this area underneath. It says that it is associated with another order, number 1012. And we'll look at it in a second. And it originated from this estimate number. This is called associated orders, okay? And it's a powerful thing. If we go back to the Explorer, now I told you I was going to look at something but not tell you what I was looking for. Notice that I have added this associated order column in my search. And I saw that 1011 is associated with 1012. So is 10,000 or 1009 is also associated. 8 is associated with the same one. 6 is associated. And so you can see the different associations. The idea behind that is that these are things that are likely related. And then there are some things that are not quite fully done that will allow you to do some other things with associated orders. Now, to add this column, if it doesn't exist in your system, you can just go up to the heading, come down to here, right-click, column chooser, and then you would come down to the list. Let me pull it up so you can see it a little bit better. Come down through the list, and if there are other fields that you want to see and have on your Explorer screen, you can just click on them, drag it up to where you want it to be, and away you go. So this is the only one that I've added related to the associated orders. Okay, someone said we have a question. Let me pause. Oh, we got 2 or 3 questions.
Yep, we have a question from Ava.
Okay.
Good morning, Ava.
She doesn't have a headset.
Okay. Let's see.
I think Monica was the first one that had a. Monica, do you have a headset?
Doesn't look like she has one.
Okay. Can an estimate be converted into a bill? No. I'm not sure I completely follow what you're saying, but bills are a whole different subject. They're not really related to an estimate. That gets into the purchase orders and creating bills, and whether or not you're using the accounting module, accounting module in control. So the answer specifically to the question is no, you can't convert an estimate to a bill. Let me digress on that. When you say bill, are you talking a bill to the customer? Is that what you're really asking? Because if it is, then that would convert it to an order that could result in an invoice being sent to the customer. If try to clarify your question, Monica, just to make sure that I'm not making it too complicated for what you really were asking.
Okay.
Victoria?
Let's see.
Yeah. If you these were the default filters that I had, and I had previously saved those. Let's just close this, and I think it's going to come back up that way. So if I do a search for orders, that's my default. So if I change these and just say I want to focus only on WIP, and for this year is the time period, and if I save that, now the next time that I open Explore in orders, it's going to have remembered what I had. You can't go back automatically to what was there. You would have to reinstate the check marks and then resave your options, your filter options. So yeah, you can change, you can save. Next time around, you can change them again and save, and you can continue to do that as often as you want. Does that answer your question, Victoria?
Okay, and so Monica is asking if you can, that you're saying that if you create an estimate, you convert it to a work order, and then the work order can be saved or converted into an invoice. An
estimate, the choices on converting an estimate. I'm going to do this by just doing some right mouse clicks, okay? So if I want to convert this, I can do a right mouse click, and now you're seeing what you can do with this particular estimate. I can clone, I'm going to skip some of the obvious one. I can clone it. I can make some adjustments in using. I can change the job grouping. I can convert it. I can mark it as lost, void. I can change the station, which we'll talk about it, I think, on Thursday, and other things of that nature. But your choice for converting is to, are you sure you want to convert to an order? So the next logical step after an estimate would be that it would become an order. So it's going to mark the original estimate as converted, and it is going to create an order with its own unique order number. Now, for that order, you can produce a work order. You can produce a printed image of the invoice, or both. They can be emailed to the customer, or you can print them. But you don't go directly from an estimate to just a work order. A work order is something that you can produce that's related to a specific order. Okay? So if you want to convert it, I would say yes. And then I'd go through a couple of other steps that we'll do in more detail on Thursday, and it would end up as an order. Okay?
She said, okay, thank you. I think we're good for questions for right now.
Okay, well, I got to kind of get my bearings where I was.
Sure.
We talked about the associated orders. Actually, we were right at the end. There's one very, very important feature that I want to talk about dealing with searches. If I come up here to the top and say that I'm going to search by company, notice down at the very bottom of the screen, and I got to slide this taskbar down so you can see it. See in this light blue area where it says Sub Explorer. If I click the downward arrow and choose order, this produces what I call a split screen. The technical name is that if I am looking for this particular customer, it's got a check mark. This is showing me in a sub-explorer view for this one customer, the orders that they have. Okay? If I want to see if they have estimates, the sub-explorer could be estimates. Okay? This is a tremendous, tremendous tool to help you find things in a more timely fashion. And again, it's called using the Sub Explorer, where you choose a primary search. I call it a primary search. And then if you want to narrow it down for a specific customer to find something, then you'd use the Sub Explorer to say, all right, I want to look for orders, I want to look for estimates, or other types of things that you can use that search for, that secondary search. Very, very powerful tool. Okay. Ready for the next topic. Is there any other things? I'll make sure that I'm not missing.
There are not any more questions at this time.
Okay, cool. All right, now let's kind of digress a little bit, and I'm going to talk about user options. First of all, before I do that, under Setup and System Setup, things that are set up under the System Setup are global in nature. And what that means is that whatever the settings or whatever the things are that are entered in System Setup apply to everyone the same way that can log into Control. So they are global in nature. They apply to everyone. You have to have the right privileges or system access in order to make changes to the system setup. Not everybody will have that, okay? It's generally pretty tightly restricted. User options, on the other hand, under setup and then user options, those are things that you want to do for yourself that would only apply to you when you log in, okay? The most common ones would be your email setting. This will be yours. And to do that, you select the user setup system or user options email. Now you have some things that you have to tell the system about your email. Is it going to function through Outlook? If the answer is yes, that's all you need. And then you can put in your username and your password. Okay. If you're not using Explorer, then you have to tell it more information. These things, okay? I kind of misstated on the Outlook. You just tell it that you're using Outlook, and your email would get picked up. If it's internal, other than Outlook, then you have more that you need to Okay, so email is something that you can customize for yourself. The dashboard options, we've already talked about that. You can customize those. Annette, I just saw a message about a network problem. Did you sense anything with the audio or anything like that?
A little bit, but I hear you okay right now.
It was only that way for just a second. I just saw it in the corner of my eye.
Yeah, it just popped in. We do have another question. I don't know if you want to take it now. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
If we are searching, can we look up a location address and find out who is the salesperson for that address? And that is from Ava.
I'm thinking before. I'm going to do it first on an order. Let me read the question. Can we look up a location, in other words, an ad? I don't see address as a search item on orders or on estimates. I don't see that it's there. Let's look at a contact. No address. Well, there's an address on a contact, so you could do a search there. Ultimately, what you want is to find the salesperson.
We can find the salesperson in the company record. Yeah, and in the company record, the only thing is that if you have, I don't know if the question is that there's multiple addresses and multiple salespeople for a certain address.
But the salesperson, that's an internal salesperson, for the within the using control. It's not the customer's salesperson. That's going to be a contact.
Okay, that's right.
Okay. But the answer is you can do a search on the primary salesperson. You could also out here add. Well, there's already a column search there for the salesperson. These are already sorted that way. But you can search for a salesperson. You cannot on an order or even on the company. You can search for salesperson here, but not a location or an address. If you're searching, can we look up a location address and find out who is the salesperson for that address? I don't think you're talking about salesperson, Eva. I think you're talking about the person that ordered the job, because the salesperson in the context of control, the salesperson is who are you the salesperson for 5 or 10 or 20 or 50 different customers, okay? So the contact within a company, well, this is a poor example. You can have 5, 10, 15, 20 different people as contacts within a customer record. Okay, and then when you're creating an order, I'm going to see if I can find. I don't have any that are in here with multiple customers, not multiple customers, multiple contacts.
I think she says one address, one salesperson, different customers, and companies. So I think it's the contacts that she's saying. As you said.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to show was in the totals tab when you're creating an order, when you go out to the this is for the salesperson, but that's the salesperson within the business. And yeah, this is the contact. This is the person placing the order. So they've got a customer that's got 15 employees that can order something. They may or may not, the contact may be a different address also, but you're choosing a contact within that customer that's placing the order, who the job is being done for. And that person could have they can have different addresses. But the salesperson in the context of control is the salesperson within your business there that's involved with the project, and that might be for commission purposes or something of that nature. Okay.
Okay. If I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, not sure if we.
Still not 100%. Yeah, we're on the same page with it, but because of the again, is a contact within a customer, and there may be multiple contacts within that customer. They can all have the same address, or they addresses. In the context of control, the salesperson is the person generating the project for that customer. In other words, it's an employee within your business, your shop. Okay. I'm still not 100% certain that I'm tracking with you, Eva. Let me look at. I've got a couple more things that it's important that we look at before we wrap up today. Okay, activity manager is where I wanted to go. And here I've taken it off of the taskbar, but I could have just as well had it up there. The activity manager is a great tool for scheduling meetings, scheduling follow-up events for a particular customer. If you're doing something and you want to schedule something, you're going to come out here to activities. And these are the different kinds of things that you can generate. You can create an email, a call, it's an appointment, it's a meeting. Let's just pick a meeting, okay? Now you got the template for the meeting. This is important. It's assuming that you're scheduling a meeting for whoever it is that's logged in. But if you're scheduling a meeting that's going to involve other people, you can do that. So I could add Linda, That was kind of nameless, but I could add, so a total of 3 people are going to see this meeting that I'm scheduling. It could be related to a specific order. It could be related to a specific customer, okay? You can put in notes down here. You can pick a time, a date. That date could be a specific date with a start time and an end time. You could have something that's just private to you. In that case, you would put a check mark. You can schedule a meeting and make it a recurring meeting, one that's going to occur every week or every month or twice a month, and then save it. Now let's do that. And let's make it associated with this company, and I'm going to save that. Okay. Okay, there it just popped up. So if I open it, this is the one that I just created. Now, let's go over here to the left, and I'm going to widen this out. So that I can look at other calendars, okay? So if I choose Linda and the administrator, now I'm looking at the calendars of all 3. So you can add a view to your heart's content. So you can see the same event or the same meeting is now appearing on all of the calendars, okay? So let me close this down and come back. Up here at the very top, you can have a 1-day view, which is what is there now. You can have a 5-day view, so you can look at the same calendar for myself on a 5-day view, on a 7-day view, look at the whole week. I can look at the entire month. And now, if a particular item, let's go back to a 1-day view. When this particular item is completed, I can right-click, and I can say, complete the activity. I can do it by just making no changes. I can add notes. And then, so let's just do that. Now it's going to ask me if I want to complete it for all of the calendars or just my own. So let's do all of the calendars. And it was completed as scheduled. Now it puts a line in it. Now here's another thing, the view. This show calendar, if I click on it, oh, that's wrong, sorry, I can't read. Hang on a second. Sorry. It's showing that it's completed on these, and if I look at the other calendars, it would show that it's completed there as well. So look at the other calendars. It showed that it completed across the board. There's a lot more on Dashboard and the Activity Manager that we just didn't touch on, but you can actually schedule people involved in the production process. You can schedule equipment that's involved in the production process. We did a special webinar series a couple of months ago that talked about that very topic. So if you're interested in that you can look at some of the videos that are available through the Seer Skills area on the website and find that particular topic. But you can just use it routinely for yourself and use it for your staff, everybody within the shop. You can choose which calendars you look at, what kind of views you want. You can create different kinds of activity events, be it meetings or calls or whatever. Probably the next most powerful thing is to automate some of the activity processes for customer service, where you would automatically generate, the macro and query would automatically generate a follow-up to a customer that you had produced an estimate for, and put a trigger on your calendar to, hey, follow up with today. It's been X number of days, since that, since that was the last contact. You can do that with completed orders. So there's a lot of uses for the activity manager. What I've alluded to here is simply the manual creation of activities for meetings and calls and stuff like that. But it goes far, far beyond that. We're right at 11. Do we have any last-minute questions?
I think you did. You did just answer Joe's question. Can you send out a blanket email to new customers from the activities dropdown? That would be through the macro, correct?
Yeah, that would be the most logical thing to do. You can, on new estimates, I'm just looking at it there. The answer to the question is yes, and generally that is going to involve creating a query, and that query is going to define the parameters under which you want an item to be chosen, or that meets the conditions. If we look at these and look at what I want to do is losing it on this particular screen. What I was wanting to do was to show you when you do a search for an order or for a company or contact, whatever, behind the scenes that you're not seeing, because generally you don't want to see it, you don't need to see it. But behind all of these different searches is actually a query. And that query outlines the parameters that have to be met before something appears. So basically the query here is, I want a list of orders that have a status of WIP, a status of built, and a status of sale. That's the criteria. That would be the query behind this particular search. So if you change these, then the query changes. By the same token, you can come up to the marketing, sales and marketing, and you can create queries. You can create an advanced query. You can create a macro. The query and the macro together then is where you would go to automate the automatic sending of invoices, at midnight of every night, for example, where you would automatically once a week or every 2 weeks send out thank yous to customers that have had orders finished, or to new estimates that you've generated that you want to give them 3 or 4 or 5 days, and then you want to have a trigger that follow up on this particular customer.
Okay. Thank you, Paul. That's great information.
I think we've run out of time.
Yeah. So what are we going to review on Thursday?
On Thursday, we're going to create a company, create an estimate, convert that estimate to an order. We're going to walk through the different statuses of orders and estimates. We're going to talk about payments, some of the payment options, and then we'll look at the quick products. That's saying here how you can customize that for your own personal preferences, and then we'll finish up talking about print options, and whether it's for orders or estimates or just general reports.
Awesome. Great information. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing everybody back on Thursday.
Thanks for being on the call. It was helpful.
Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care, everybody. Yep. Bye.